Wout van Aert sprinted to his second stage win of this Vuelta yesterday after surviving the day's climb. The man in green got a huge helping hand from his team leader Sepp Kuss, and he'll no doubt get a chance to return the favour in the coming days.
Yesterday was really nice for the team. Nice for Wout, nice for me to be a part of a sprint victory. That only gives us motivation and makes us better for the rest of the race. Yeah, today's definitely a different type of stage, and have to be ready for a pretty hard final.
Ben O'Connor has a big overall lead, and his teammates are motivated by the prospect of defending the red jersey. I think we're well equipped, we've got a good team. Lots of our riders have already won Grand Tour stages, and Joffre has won Best Climber jerseys. Bruno Armirail is the French time trial champion, and he's worn pink at the Giro, so I think we've got a really good team to defend red. There should be a spectacular finale today, but will it be the breakaway or the peloton going for glory? I think today will be for the breakaway because tomorrow is going to be very, very difficult. It'll be too hard for most of the riders in the peloton, but today it's a bit of an in-between stage. There is a summit finish, but it's not very long, and I think a strong break could fight it out for victory. Well, stage win or no, there is bound to be a skirmish between the GC favourites who need to close the gap on O'Connor. I think it'll be a very fast stage. There'll be a big fight for the breakaway because I think they can make it. Then in the GC group, everyone's going to be fighting their own fight to try to make up time. Stage 8 is definitely an opportunity for climbers who have lost time overall. It's relatively short, 159k, with 2 climbs late in the day. The hike up to the finish line is just under 5k at 7%, with some very steep sections at 20%, so we can expect some real fireworks in the final. There were also fireworks at the start today, as about half of the peloton tried to get into the breakaway. The riders whizzing along at more than 50 kilometers an hour, until finally a group of 3 got a small gap. Harold Tejada, Mauro Schmidt and Gijs Leemreizer. There were also a couple of counter-attacks before the peloton pulled the handbrake. In a first chasing group were Luca Vergalito, Jon Izagirre and Oya Lascano, who was in 6 breakaways at this year's Tour de France. Then came Mathis Lebert and Sam Oomen. Eventually those groups all came together, so 8 leaders now approaching the first climb with a lead of more than 5 minutes. Further back, Decathlon AG2R were pacing the peloton for their race leader O'Connor. The average speed dipping a little to 46.5 kilometers an hour as the breakaway hit the climb of the Puerto Mirador de la Palomas, 7.3 kilometers at 5.7%. Israel Premier Tech had taken over at the front of the peloton, bringing the gap down to around 4 minutes. The bunch had to keep an eye on Tejada, who began the day 6 minutes 57 down on O'Connor. At this point, he was virtually second overall. Leemreizer was the first to drop from the front group, perhaps feeling the effects of his ride with O'Connor 2 days ago. The remaining 7 heading to the summit with a lead now of 3.5 minutes. Still 50k to go and things were finally poised, with a couple of the leaders trying to open up a gap on the descent. The group of 7 reforming as they rolled through the intermediate sprint inside the final 20 kilometres. Their lead was down to under 2.5 minutes, with Israel Premier Tech still driving the peloton. The battle for the stage victory was on, but would the break reach the final climb with enough of a gap to hold off the bunch? Some of the front men were starting to think about that potential stage victory, and a series of attacks whittled the group down to just 3 riders, Tejada, Lascano and Vergalito. They still had 2 minutes in hand, but it was going to be tough to survive the GC assault from behind. Other teams now getting involved in this furious chase. Tejada leading the way onto the climb as his fellow escapees began to fade, but the gap was only around a minute now. Dani Martinez getting ready to launch Primož Roglič.
Crash in the peloton, and several riders are caught up on that right-hand turn. Rafferty makes his way through. Dani Martinez has his leader, Primož Roglič, right there.
Vlasov and Kuss were among the riders caught in that crash as Roglič quickly took control of the GC group with O'Connor on the wheel. Lascano fighting his way back to Tejada. Roglič was looking in one of those moods, and with 2 kilometres to go, he put in a stinging attack. Only Enric Mas was able to follow, with O'Connor scrambling to limit the damage. The Aussie getting some help from his teammate Felix Gall. Well, Tejada was the last man standing out at the front, but Roglič and Mas were closing fast as they entered the final kilometre. O'Connor had lost around 20 seconds by the Flamme Rouge, while Roglič and Mas soon swept past Tejada. Mikel Landa wasn't too far behind, but it was the Slovenian and the Spaniard who would battle for stage honours.
Mas takes control at the front of the race. He starts to sprint. He's giving a hard time to Primož Roglič, who can't quite get round the Spaniard. He's trying to come to the victory. They're head and head, neck and neck. It's Roglič who's got the upper hand. He comes to the finish at the top of this climb, and it's victory number 14 in the Vuelta a España on a stage for Red Bull Bora-Hansgrohe's Primož Roglič.
Roglič striking yet again on the kind of short, steep finish that he adores and proving that absolutely nothing's been decided at this Vuelta. The Slovenian taking his second win of this edition and putting time into all of his GC rivals except Mas. He clearly means business in his pursuit of a 4th overall crown.
I was lucky, I had the legs to take it today. It was quite suffering and it was hard today, but at the end, the opportunity was there. I went for it, no? After a hard period with my injury, still feel it, so we'll just see, we'll just enjoy today first.
O'Connor crossing the line 46 seconds down, with Kuss at 1:07 and Almeida shipping almost 5 minutes. A very solid day for Roglič. He moves on to 86 career wins. Landa, Tiberi and Skjelmoser round out the top 5 on the day. O'Connor's lead over Roglič has been cut to 3:49 with Mas at 4:31, and just 26 seconds separate Tiberi in 4th and Gall in 10th. An ill-timed chain drop saw Wout van Aert drop out of the peloton today, so he couldn't help Kuss, but he remains the leader of the points classification. Roglič has taken control of the mountains classification. With 3 points on the finish line, he is now 2 clear of Sylvain Moniquet. And Tiberi is still on top of the hotly contested youth competition with just 56 seconds separating the top 5 riders. There's a GC blockbuster to come on Sunday with 3 big climbs on the menu, so do join us again tomorrow, and thanks for watching.